Good afternoon. My name is Nita Lanning, and this is Indie Rush for the week of August 22nd, 2022. Starting off with Indiegogo, Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, 120 pages of the adventures of an angel struggling to survive among demons, sinners, and the living dead. Michael, an innocent angel, is a pawn in a comic chess match between the gods of light and darkness, unjustly banished to the mortal realm. Michael struggles to survive among demons and the living dead while becoming the guardian angel of a neighborhood filled with killers and sinners. On Kickstarter, Snowpaws issue 1 and 2. 19th century Scottish female werewolf fantasy. Upon discovering her werewolf lineage, a young woman's eyes are open to the existence of supernatural beings and creatures of fantasy. Just launched on Kickstarter, Egoraven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1, Trade and Prequel. The first full-color volume collecting issues 1 through 4 of the fantasy drama about a half-unicorn princess exiled into the mortal world. Egoraven is intended for mature readers. On Kickstarter, Rabbit's Badass Song number 3. The Rabbit's quest continues in this gory, foul-mouthed southern tale of brutal revenge and fried chicken. Mr. Guy Zombie Hunter, numbers 1 and 2. A fantasy zombie comedy comic. This half-goblin, half-fool must save the world from zombies if he wants to save himself. To be honest, he is less than thrilled about it. Also on Kickstarter, The Misadventurers 1 through 4, an all-ages fantasy comic full series. In this series, a pair of misfits banished from home have to team up to beat bizarre villains like demonic divas, abominable snow babies, and rock star trees, all while escaping bad puns and getting back in time for dinner. On Kickstarter, Slaughterville graphic novel book 2, The Slasher. Tragedy has struck, and now it's up to the citizens to set things right. How will they overcome their loss while trying to keep ahead of the dark forces in the town? Who will be the slasher's next victim? New allies arrive. Find clues to the mysterious power behind the town. Avoid the gleaming axe of the slasher. On Indiegogo, Projectile Reptile. Infamous gunslinger Desmond Gibbons, better known across the Wild West as the Cactus Kid, comes to the sleepy town of Clarkson, not knowing the trouble he'd run into there, from the sheriff to the evil druid to the transformation into the hulking four-armed projectile reptile. Join him on his journey of gunslinging, druidic magic, superheroes, and artifacts. Are you ready for the truly Wild West? On Kickstarter, Beowulf 1 through 4, adventure that spans centuries. The dragon slayer of myth, reincarnated as a 30-something-year-old slacker. His sidekicks are a magic cat and a 13-year-old girl. Also on Kickstarter, we have The Roaring. A group of flappers who have called themselves The Roaring have a singular goal: to take over all of organized crime in 1920s Prohibition-era Chicago. These flappers, led by Ruth, Dorothy, and Jenny, use any and all means to achieve their goals. Nothing is outside their scope of what it takes to achieve the criminal power and status they seek. Death Nell, Volume 1. Nell is a 20-something student at Des Moines, a prestigious school for necromancy, who is struggling with the uncontrollable sexual urges and an overactive imagination. Now she must venture through the world of magic to find a way to get her impulses under control and focus on her studies. It's a humorous story about identity, purpose, and, sexy stuff. On Kickstarter, Yisun Shin, issues 1 through 10, a bloody historical epic trilogy. All that stood against an invading army of samurai was one man who could not be defeated in battle. On Kickstarter, Hope and Sin, number 1. This erotic tale follows characters that were first introduced in Sister Mercy, number 5, while giving a deeper look into their backstories and the first steps of what would be their own dark adventure into the depths of depravity, hopelessness, and love, the three cornerstones needed for any relationship to succeed in this twisted world whose dangers know no end. On Kickstarter, Dust Bunny Mafia 1 through 3. It's business, not personal. When a bug is found hidden deep inside the Fairview Police Department, a war erupts between the police, mayor, and rival mafia families. That's right, people. Dust Bunny Mafia. Oh. On Kickstarter, Lycan, Solomon's Odyssey Chapter 2. The second chapter in a series of fully illustrated graphic novels following the journey of Solomon, the world's first werewolf. Also on Kickstarter, LadyDarke number 2. The next exciting chapter in the saga of Laura Lennox, LadyDarke. Readers and comic fans around the world fell in love with the world of LadyDarke with our mega hit first issue. Now the action has been dialed up to 11 as the pieces set in motion in issue 1 come to a dramatic head in the next incredible chapter of LadyDarke. On Kickstarter, Haunting Volume 1, a supernatural horror graphic novel. When Deacon corners Bram and Faith, a kind girl with a tragic past, in the small town of Dusty Springs, Bram will finally be forced to learn that his actions will have consequences. Whether he takes responsibility for those consequences is another question entirely. On Indiegogo, Bad Kitty. Former detective Catherine Bell has been taken away from New Orleans for a long time, but she and her cat Lucky return to hunt down a reported skinwalker. But when her battle with the creature gets splashed all over social media, it catches the attention of police who are still hunting Bad Kitty. All bets are off when the spirit she's hunting takes over an even stronger body, and Bad Kitty must team up with the city's new detective and try to stop it. It's an action-packed supernatural tale with teeth in the Big Easy. On Kickstarter, The Last Homicide 1 through 2, a complete crime noir detective story. On the eve of his retirement, Detective Wilmer catches the case he'd never hoped to see, the murder of the mob boss's son. In a city founded on corruption, the police have little authority to stop the crime plaguing their streets. But this one murder has the potential to tip escalating gang tensions into all-out war. Before he hangs up his badge for good, Wilmer and his partner Gomez have one last homicide to solve. Otherwise, there won't be much left of a city for him to retire from. Alright guys, and that's it for this week. Be sure to follow us on Indie Comics Network on YouTube and Indie Comics Promotions on Facebook, and we will see you next time.